ActiveCampaign Tag Reporting. We're going to cover showing how many contacts you have for your tags in ActiveCampaign. And while that might not be the most exciting thing in the world, it can give you insights into how healthy your business is. So we're going to show you how to get a snapshot in time of the number of contacts per tag, and then also the number of contacts over time per tag. And to do this, we're going to use either a very simple script, one that does the one-time reporting, or a more complex script that takes into account the use of a database and a cron job. Now, if that stuff just makes your head want to explode, hold on, it's not that bad. There is a little work involved. Let's start with the simple one. Now, first thing to do is simply go to this link right there on the page, scroll down to the very bottom of the page and highlight this text that starts with that PHP tag. So let's take a look. So on this page, just simply scroll down to the bottom. From here, highlight all of this text. This is going to be a script that you put down here to this closing pre-tag, and then copy that content. Okay, save that off somewhere. Text file, doesn't matter, wherever you want. And then you're going to need to go into your ActiveCampaign account and get some information, specifically the URL and the key for your API. So ActiveCampaign, up in the upper right hand corner, My Settings, and then Developer. Copy that URL and the key value that is there, and then paste that into the script you just copied over. So if you were to look at the script, and this is a slightly cleaned up version, I took out all the comments. On line 3, you want to replace the $URL equals tick with the value that is from your account. And then on line 7, where it says API key and your API key, replace the your API key with your value. Go ahead and save that. Call it something like ActiveCampaign-tags.php. And you can save it anywhere on your site. It really doesn't matter. But when you want to call that script, you're going to go to your domain /ActiveCampaign-tags.php. Here's what the output looks like. Not very exciting. And in this case, this is an account that doesn't even have any users on most of these tags. What you get is an array back with information that shows you the ID, the number of the tag, the name of the tag, and how many contacts are on that tag. Now, what you can do over time is you can actually change the name of the tag. So you just have to be aware of that. The ID is not going to change unless, of course, you delete it. But if you rename a tag, that ID stays constant. So that's actually one way to search for tags. We're actually going to go and be a little bit lazier and look for names of tags. So that's the simple script. You just run that in your browser, the ActiveCampaign-tags.php. This thing spits out, and voila, you've got the count of how many people are associated with each tag. Of course, you can get that inside your ActiveCampaign account. Now, let's go to the more advanced, or let's call it the not so simple script. And this one's going to use a database to log results, and there'll be a script that's based on the simple script to capture and store those results in the database. We're going to run what's called a cron job that will call that script on a regular basis, twice a day, and we're going to use the code available at MD Bootstrap to display the information on a chart. And then a script will call that chart up and display results over time. So we get an idea of where things are trending, up, down, no change, or just all over the place. So this is what you need to do. You need to create a database. And inside there, you're going to create a table called results. You want to have an ID as one of the fields. It's going to be an integer, not null. It's also going to be your primary key, and it auto increments. How's that for exciting? Another field will be last updated. It's a timestamp, and you want it to update. There's going to be a field called date time, and it'll simply be an int or an integer. There'll be a date time underscore read, which is a text field, and then there'll be one called blah. Now that's just my fancy way of dumping data in there without doing any kind of work. Now the script you have is a lot like the simple script. Parts that I've highlighted here are the things that have changed. The top part, lines 3 through 14, all it's doing there is it's calling a configuration file that has the database information, which I haven't shown here. You'd have to create a database, associate a user and a password, and then it's making a connection to that database. That's all it's doing. Lines 16 through 54 are exactly what we had in the simple script, and at the very bottom, lines 55 through 72, take the data that gets collected and stores it in the database. It doesn't do a lot of thinking. It doesn't be smart about, well, I already collected data for the day. Nope, it just keeps dumping data in there as frequently as you want. Now, the thing is, the next script we have to display is a little bit smarter and will take the most recent data for each day to display. So that's the script that you want to create, and you might replace the ActiveCampaign-tags.php with this one, the more complex one. So next thing to do is set up a cron job. This is something that runs on a regular basis. And if you look at this one, and if you look at the minute, hour, day, month, weekday, starting with weekday, and there's a little asterisk or star there, that means just do it every time. So every weekday, every month, every day at 3 a.m. and at 3 p.m., which is the 15, on the hour at 0, run this script. It's saying use PHP to run the ActiveCampaign-tags.php script, and then there's some other stuff. And then assuming it works, what you see down below is what's in the database. The ID gets automatically incremented, the timestamps there, the date time, which is epic time, then the date time read, and then there's the infamous blah, just dumps the data into the database. So that's going to grow over time. The reason I have it run twice in a day, even though I really want to only use one occurrence, is in case one time it doesn't work during the day, I want to at least give it a second chance. That's all. You can do one if you want. You want to go to this site here, mdbootstrapcom, javascript/charts, and we are going to want to use that line chart capability that they have. So let me show you what it looks like. So right here is an example of a chart, and all you really have to do is add this to the code they provide, along with this down below. And to get that data, you just go to the download for free. I think there's a paid option, but you just want to skip that. Simply do a direct download, and that will dump that onto your browser. And then you're going to want to upload it to your site. So assuming you have cPanel, there's an upload capability, and then you can also unzip that file. And then once you've unzipped it, you're going to have a file structure that looks like this. And I believe the directory it creates it in is called something like MD free. I renamed it to charts, and then this is what's inside there. Also, there was a file called index.html. I renamed it to index.php. It's the same file, just renamed. And then I'm going to add some content and make some modifications. So inside that index.php, the only changes that I've made are just below the opening body tag here on 186. I've added this, or replaced what was there with this. I don't have to do all of that. The only one that really matters is this canvas ID equals line chart. That's the most important part because that's where the chart will be put. The other stuff's kind of formatting things. And then down towards the bottom line, 213 and 215, I replaced what was there with these PHP statements. Now I haven't shown you where that comes from, and I will momentarily. But those are the changes I made to the HTML part. And actually I changed the title. So I guess 4 different things. Here it is, the big kahuna. This is 90 lines worth of code. And this is what generates is the data. It's going to pull out the data from the database and format it in such a way that it can be displayed. Real briefly, first few lines, 1 through 9, are basically saying, load the configuration file. That's that database file that tells you the login details. Next line is making a connection. Next line, this days back temp, is just saying we're going to look back 30 days. You can hard code that. You can actually make that an input and change it. And then we're going to go to our table called results and select everything that's at least as new as 30 days ago. Anything beyond that, we're not looking at. It's going to go ahead and parse through those results put it into an array. We're again going to go through that, do a little bit more magic, parse through that. Line 47 is kind of the key here. It says if the tag matches waiting list dash form, or the tag begins with the word sequence but ends with A, B, C, or D, let's save that information. So that's a regular expression. This is kind of a one-time version of it to get it out. If this was a little more robust, I'd make it an option to select the tags, but I'm kind of hard coding that in there. Down here on line 55, we're basically looping through the number of days back to build our data. We're putting into this thing called data set. And then down here, we're going through data set and building the JavaScript that we need to use to display the content. There's a little magic here with this little blah, which happens to be my favorite variable of all time, to change the coloring slightly. Nothing fancy. Then the end result is this. You get a chart that gets built over time, and I've only got 1 day worth of data, and it shows the number of contacts for all of these tags, one called sequence A, B, C, D, another one called waiting list dash forum. And then this will just trend over time, and I have a visual representation of what my tags look like in ActiveCampaign. So that's one way to do ActiveCampaign tag reporting.